Seizing central space opens avenues for rapid development and potential pawn breaks. Immediately establishing a central pawn presence mirrors white's intention, creating an open confrontation for early territorial advantage. Challenging the center immediately creates dynamic pawn tension, offering white both immediate central control and attacking chances. Solidifying the central pawn chain. This choice favors a robust defensive structure for black's queen's pawn, inviting a positional battle for control of the d5 square. Fortifying the central pawn and preparing development. This move initiates a solid Slav defense structure, aiming for harmonious piece play. Solidifying the center and preparing for queenside development. This pawn move opens diagonals for the queen and bishop. Developing a knight solidifies central control and prepares for further pawn advances or piece activity. Unleashing the pawn on f5 gambits queenside development for immediate central tension, potentially weakening the kingside's defensive structure. Asserting central influence and preparing for active piece play. The bishop aims to control key diagonals. Bolstering the center. This knight aims to solidify the pawn chain and prepare for future central engagement. Solidifying the central pawn structure. White fortifies the d4 pawn and prepares to develop the queenside pieces with a clear conscience. Bringing the knight to f6 reinforces the d5 pawn and prepares for potential pawn breaks, subtly improving kingside development. Introducing knights to the central skirmish. This gambit aims to disrupt black's pawn structure while controlling vital squares. Developing the bishop to this active diagonal immediately contests white's knight and prepares central counterplay. Fortifying the center. This bishop prepares to bolster the d4 pawn and potentially eye the kingside for future action. Intensifying the central skirmish. This knight bravely ventures, seeking influence and aiming to disrupt white's bishop pair advantage. Striking the pawn. White simplifies the center, opening lines that might soon become useful for their active pieces. Opening the e-file offers dynamic possibilities, but watch for the king's newfound exposure. Unleashing the queen aims to exploit black's weakened kingside pawn structure and create immediate attacking opportunities. Reclaiming development. The knight re-establishes itself, aiming to disrupt white's attacking setup and potentially offer defensive support. Sacrificing the queen for immediate material gain opens up the king's sanctuary, potentially leading to a swift, decisive attack. Instantly creating a defensive screen and aiming to activate the rook. This move seeks to bolster the threatened king and open lines for counterplay. Exploiting the unprotected king. White seeks to create immediate attacking chances on the vulnerable monarch. Reclaiming the initiative. Black repositions the bishop, aiming to bolster central control and prepare for the upcoming pawn push. Flipping open the kingside. This move dramatically alters the pawn structure, creating a tense battlefront and potentially exposing black's monarch. Retreating the knight from the tactical fray. Black seeks to consolidate the endangered king's safety and prepare for a more structured defense. The rook is exposed, but sacrificing material for initiative can be sharp. Look for ways to exploit the king's awkward placement. Asserting queenside pressure. Black aims to disrupt white's precarious pawn structure and exploit the exposed king. Unleashing the king's defenses by castling. White aims to solidify their monarch's position amidst the encroaching queenside pressure and open file threats. A solidifying regrouping to activate the queen's bishop and bolster the d-file defense. Unleashing a thunderous check. White relentlessly exploits black's exposed king, aiming to shatter any defensive structure before it can coalesce. A crucial repositioning to shield the king. accepting a slight loss of active piece play to deny white immediate threats. Solidifying the king's defense opens avenues for development while preparing to contest the f-file. A courageous exchange aiming to unlock the g-file, though it concedes crucial central control. Unleashing a king hunt. White forces black's monarch deeper into perilous territory amidst the chaos. The knight repositions to a more defensive square, solidifying the king's shield against immediate threats. Reclaiming material with this pawn strike opens lines but exposes the king further on the kingside. Rethinking defense. This rook's relocation aims to shore up the kingside and prepare for counterplay. Unleashing a knight fork. This checks the king while threatening the rook, creating significant discomfort for black's exposed monarch. Navigating away from the immediate knight threat, black seeks to consolidate and regroup his forces while white enjoys a fleeting initiative. Unleashing a decisive knight fork. This strike exploits the exposed black king and immediately forces material gain or a devastating checkmate sequence. Escaping the immediate onslaught, the black king seeks sanctuary, but the knight's fork on the d-file looms, threatening a swift, decisive blow. Unleashing the rook onto the 7th rank seizes a critical open file, threatening decisive penetration toward black's exposed monarch. Seeking to untangle the rook from its current confinement, black aims to activate it and explore open lines. Puncturing the queenside reinforces white's central pawn majority and limits black's counterplay on that wing. Black aims to disrupt white's pawn structure and create counterplay on the queenside. Securing the open f-file intensifies pressure on black's precarious monarch, preparing to exploit the weakened kingside. Opening that queenside pawn structure to escape the knight's pressure, though it fragments the pawn chain. Liberating the rook from its awkward pinning unlocks potent attacking potential down the open 7th rank.